Hi, my name is Jiga Strumczyk and I am a self-taught freelance 3D artist. I have decided to record this challenge for two reasons mainly. The first one is to share my knowledge with other people. Since I'm self-taught, I know how hard it is to find good content online to point you in the right direction. And two, sort of to document my process of how I create things so I can show them to any future employers or clients, so they have a better understanding of how I do things. I should clarify what I meant when I said it's hard to find good content online. It's really not. It's quite easy to find good content. It's a bit harder to find content that's in chronological order, at least for game environments, that shows you how to create it from the start to the end. Obviously, I started at the beginning with gathering references. It's important to have correct references to give you a better idea of what things look like and how you should make them, and also all of the things that you're going to need. So here is the main image, the one that I'm using for the reference, and above it I have a few buildings. For example, the Capitol building sort of give me an idea of how I'm going to have to make the walls, how they're going to look like. Some more of them here. Also here I have for these domed roofs, the circular buildings, and the temple in the middle as well, of course. Here I have a few pictures of animal statues that I'm going to scatter around the scene. For example, there are going to be some of them standing here, which I forgot to place. The ones around there, the one in the middle. Actually, the one in the middle is going to be more like a Ganesha statue. And then this one's interesting. I'm going to put this one as the railing that goes up to the temple. Down here I have a few markets. For now I don't have a lot of them because I don't know if I'll have the time to place markets around the scene. And I'm gonna place them into these holes down here. Maybe up here as well. In front of those big... I don't even know what these buildings are supposed to be. But I'm gonna place some of them here on the roads, just to liven up the scene a little bit. Even though there's not really anything like that in the reference, I want to add a little bit of something to it to make it more, I don't know, lively, I guess. Here I have a few references for the fences, the ones that are gonna go around. Here I have just a few trims to give me an idea of how my trim sheets should look like. Down here I have the trees. Basically an acreage tree to give me an idea of how I should model the main branches. Then a picture of a branch to give me an idea how to make the textures. And for the general shape of the tree. Same goes for the cypresses. And there aren't that many trees, so I think those are the only two that I'm going to need. Oh yeah, and the bark, of course. I think I'll just use the same texture of one bark for all of the trees. And over here I have something that's also important for references, other games. The reason I use other games for references is so I can imagine how the models are going to have to look like and how good they're going to have to be. You might be tempted to just skip the phase of gathering the references and just make things how you remember them. Obviously, you know how grass looks like and how a tree looks like, but if you do that, from my own personal experience, it's more or less going to look bad. It's not going to look the way it's supposed to. It's going to be slightly wrong shape, slightly wrong color, and it's not gonna fit. So just imagine everything that you're going to need in your scene and get a similar enough photo of what you're trying to create. The next step was to create the blockout, which for some reason for me is the hardest part of making any environment or anything really. I just don't have enough imagination to just create something. Or rather, it's hard for me to make something if I don't have it in front of me. And I don't mean just a good reference, a really good idea of what I have to make. I just put way too much effort into planning instead of just doing things. I guess that's a big weakness of mine, so I have made my blockout very detailed, as you can see. Most people don't make their blockouts this detailed, but like I said, for some reason it makes me work more efficiently and it makes me work faster. So I made one blockout, which was basically just to give me the correct scales for everything, correct positions, and the general composition and colors. Then I created another blockout, which is more detailed, which is what you're seeing here. And for this one, I have created basically everything that I'm going to need. Very primitive shapes, obviously. But still, I have an asset list. I know exactly what I'm going to have to create. And all of the hard work, for me at least, is already done. Now I just need to model everything and texture it and make it, well, fit together. And here are all of the pieces that I have. Obviously, it might seem like a lot, but it's really not. Most of these things are just going to be the same, but slightly different. For example, these walls here, they're the same thing. They're just slightly different scale. And obviously the buildings are going to be made out of these. Then I have 2 floors. Stairs, it's quite obvious with stairs. They're basically... This one is basically half the size as the other one, so that's not gonna take that long to create. These things are the same. Well, not the same. They're similar enough to actually be able to copy-paste a few things as well. And then, over here, I have all of my trees, which again, might seem like a lot of trees to create, but these ones are the same. They're copy-pasted, they're just slightly different color. These ones, they're gonna be using the same foliage texture, or rather leaf texture, and they're just gonna be slightly smaller. I still have no idea how I'm gonna make the hedge though, so that's gonna be some R&D. Then the cypress, I only need 1. And this one is gonna, again, use the same textures as the cypress. It's gonna have like needles in its treetop. And the tree bark texture is gonna be the same. That way I only have to essentially create 2 trees. And the other ones are just copy-pasted and slightly different. And lastly, over here I have my foliage, my ground cover plants. Again, nothing too complicated, nothing too fancy. It's just grass and then some flowers. These ones are the red ones, sorry, white ones, these are the yellow ones, and these ones are the red ones. And as you can see, the way it looks in this scene is pretty good. I'm probably not gonna need more than that. Maybe a few variations of grass, so not every grass is the same. And some of them that are going to be slightly shorter, that can make nicely upkept lawns. And then the cattails to go into the water. I might add a few lilies and a little bit of algae, but I'll see how much time I'll have left. The only thing that's probably not going to change from the first scene, or rather the blockout, to the end, is going to be the water, because it looks quite nice. The new water in Unreal Engine 4.26 is pretty good. It looks very nice. So I think I'm just gonna keep that, honestly. I guess I should just quickly explain how the water system works. For those of you who don't know, it's really not complicated. You have to enable it in your project settings, of course, but once you've done that and restarted your Unreal Engine, you just type water here, and you just drag and drop it in. And that's basically it. Really simple. There we go. We have water. A little bit small, but you can just scale it up. There we go. That's how you make water in Unreal Engine 4.26. It's really easy. And it looks pretty good. Obviously, I edited the shader a little bit. It looks a little bit too flat for my taste by default. So all I did was change the color a tiny bit and give it a bit more normal displacement. Here are the settings if you want to copy them. I'll just quickly scroll through them. As you can see, it's not very different from the actual material. Just a little bit of adjusting. I hope I'll have some fun creating this challenge and it won't just devolve into me being burnt out. I guess that's also another reason why I'm deciding to record this, so I keep myself motivated by interacting with other people. I still don't know where it's gonna go, what I'm going to record, what I'm going to not record. I guess I'll record the main parts of me creating things and then create time lapses and talk over them, just to give people an idea of how I do things and how you could do them as well if you wanted to. Yeah, just recording everything would take way too long. Yeah, I think I'll stick with time lapses and talk over them. And then for a few things, I'll slow it down and show it in real time. Tell me what you think, what you want to see, because this is my first time doing this, so any feedback is greatly appreciated. And that's both for the art side of the challenge and my video editing, which is pretty crap, to be honest. Who knows, if I learn how to record and actually make good videos, I might even make some in-depth tutorials. Put them online on YouTube, or maybe even sell them if they're gonna be good enough. I don't know. So good luck to everyone who decided to join the challenge, especially those of you who are this early in the process of creating their environments, this late into the challenge, halfway through. And I hope I can learn a few new things.